Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. Today we are looking at some TCG games. As I already said in the videos before, I also want to do some TCG stuff and I want to show you the platform for it, which is Dueling Nexus, which I recommend to you. I already talked about this in the budget deck video. The platform is awesome because here you can build a deck for free. You can play in the TCG format, you can play a best of 3, but you can also play single duel best of 1. So pick what you like. I especially like the best of 3 format because this is the format that you also play in tournaments, and I'm using this to prepare for the live tournaments I go to, but I also like playing the TCG format for some kind of like a change, not always playing the Master Duel format in best of 1. So today we want to look at a game with Mathmech. This is not a video in which I will explain the basic combos. I will do that in another one, but I want to show you a game, 2 games, as it is a best of 3 against the Blackwing, an archetype which is not fully fleshed out in Master Duel yet, but will come with the next core booster set, Darkwing Blast. So let's first look at the deck list, and as I said, I won't explain all the cards and not how they work together, but just want to go over the list and say a few words. So 3 Mathmech Circular, this is basic, Diameter also basic. You could play the same deck as I have it here in Master Duel, the only difference being the side deck, which you don't have there, but every card that you can see here you already have in Master Duel, so feel free to copy it. 3 Diameter, 2 Sigma, 2 Subtraction and 2 Addition, as well as 3 Exceed, that's also pretty standard. 3 Mining and 3 Small World to search them. 3 Nibiru, because in this format Kashira, a deck which I also want to show you, is pretty good, and this is also good against the branded matchup, so you main deck the Nibiru. Then we have 1 Super Factorial and 1 Equation, also pretty standard. 3 Ash, because against the branded matchup this is pretty good. 3 Impermanence, and this is the good thing about Mathmech, of course, you can run all these hand traps here. The deck has space besides its engine. Then you have 3 Effect Veilers for hand trap, but also for the Small World to search your Circular, and 3 Book of Eclipse. This is also against the Kashtira matchup because they lock your zones, and then you can just flip all their monsters and your zones become available again. And then 1 Crossout Designator to protect myself from Nibiru, which I am pretty weak against. The extra deck is basic, it's nothing special, and you would find this in a Master Duel deck list of Mathmech as well. Side deck we have triple Droll and Lockbird. Pretty good against Kashira. We have 1 Denko Sekka, which is pretty good against the Labyrinth matchup, because then they cannot set or activate their trap cards. We have, of course, triple evenly matched. I already talked about this in my board breaker video. This is like the best card going second in the game, which we cannot really use in Master Duel. Or only Labyrinth can use. And then we have triple Dimension Barrier, which has the effect that your opponent cannot special summon from the extra deck either Ritual Fusion, Synchro, or XYZ monsters. Funnily, this card was not in the game when Link came out, so Link is not on the card text. And then we have a Lava Golem and a Kaiju for breaking a potential board, and that's it for the deck list. So let's hop over into the first replay. You have a cool replay section here as well, and let's watch the first game against Blackwing. So let's just say, or let me say one thing. I myself don't know the Blackwing deck very well, and the thing I do if I don't know a deck very well and don't know what the cards do, is if I don't want to read them, I just read the end board, because on the end board I'd search all monsters and search for a quick effect, so I know what he can do on my turn, because those are the most important effects. So yeah, let's just start. I am starting and we are going for some basic lines. Addition, I go into Disciple because, as you can see, I don't have another extender, so I need to go for my Parallel Exceed. I summon from the deck, then go for Unimmersion. That is pretty standard to get to my Circular. And then the basic Circular line, activate effect, and here I get Droll and a Lockbird. And now I make the first mistake of the game. So I pitch the Sigma, which is fine, go for the Circular, and then, of course, because you Droll and Lockbird me, go for triple Tactics. I decided to watch the hand, to take a look at the hand and drop 1 card. I think this is the strongest mode. Obviously I cannot take a card of him, and I don't need more hand cards as I already have everything I need. So I look at the hand and I pitch the Pot of Prosperity because I think this is the strongest card, and these 2 I can ash. So let's continue. My thinking here is I need to like substitute this to get a Mathmech back, because only then can I resume my play. And what I wanted to do is to get my super factorial, because if you have circular on the board and then you play another Mathmech, you can search your super factorial. That was my train of thought. But the problem, of course, is he Dueling and Lockbird me, so that did not work. And then my end board is pretty bad because of the mistake I made. So I'm ending on an IP Masquerina, a Link Disciple, and of course the impermanence with having the Ash in hand. He draws, and as I already said, I don't know the cards, so I decide, because I cannot go into Appaloosa, I decide to go into Decode Heat Soul to draw cards and maybe get some more disruption. So he plays the first bird, which then I activate my Heat Soul, and he plays the second bird. Now I Veiler this, because this is basically search. You can target one no, this isn't search. This is target one face-up monster and half the attack. So this could then battle over my Decode Talker Heat Soul, which obviously I want to keep this to draw more cards. So I Veiler this, and then he activates the other bird, which basically has the effect to use these two to summon one monster out of the extra deck. I Ash this because I know he has Draw Lockbird as the last card in hand, and I know that his turn will end if I Ash this, so we are going for that. So this is the board state. Here are some cards on the board. I have like my Heat Soul and my Impermanence, so it's all about drawing. The good thing about the Mathmech deck is that it really doesn't need many cards to get going. So let's see what we get here. Paralytic Seed, this is a dead card, and I'm drawing with the Heat Soul, and I get my Barrier. Luckily for me, I guess, he activates Dueling Lockbird, which doesn't matter because I cannot draw more cards anyway. I set the Dimensional Barrier. I know that this is a Synchro deck, so I can at least lock him out of Synchro summoning monsters. Obviously, I cannot use Parallax Seed. I already draw a card, and then I'm going to battle over this one because I really don't want him to summon anything from the extra deck. And I'm thinking, okay, if he activates this halving attack effect next turn, I will use my Impermanence. He draws, and there's the pot, which could have been very devastating, but I decide to go. I think we are in, we are already in the main phase, but I decide to firstly imperm this so he cannot battle over this, and then chain my Heat Soul so I can draw a card. And I draw into Ash, which obviously is pretty lucky. He plays pot, I Ash the pot, and yeah, that's it for this turn, for his turn. Then he passes over, and at this point I can activate my Heat Soul. I draw another Mathmech. We have two Mathmechs now. He once again tries his effect, but then surrenders to us, and we get the 1-0. So let's look into the next matchup. Obviously, we have now used our extra deck. Unfortunately, we cannot see how I use my extra deck, but I want to point out some things. This is our starting hand, and as you can see, I have put in evenly matched. Obviously, I have put in 3 evenly matched, and I'm thinking, I also think I put in Dueling Lockbird because I noticed that this is a deck that tends to draw very much. So of course, as I won the first game, he now gets to decide, and this is the cool thing about best of 3, he now gets to decide whether he can go first or I should go first, which obviously most of the time they will go first. It's an advantage, and that's why I am siding in cards that are good for going second, like evenly matched. So we let him cook, we let him do his turn. He starts with the pot, which we don't have any answers for. And by the way, at this point I'm thinking okay, do I even use my Nibiru if I can? Because I'm pretty sure he will summon 5 monsters, but I'm like, okay, I need the Nibiru to use my Small World Bridge to get over Veiler to my Circular. So, and as I see the 2 evenly matches in hand, I'm thinking okay, maybe if he gets lucky, he can negate one of these, but I guess not 2. So this is my plan for now, use the evenly matches and then use this for my Small World Bridge. So let's see how this goes. He looks at the top 6 cards and I guess picks a bird, yeah, which, as I already said, I'm not quite sure what it does. So, and I don't need to know because my plan already stands. So he drops 2 of these, which can add you a Blackwing monster from deck, which seem to work both of them work. They are not hard ones per turn per copy. He plays the birds again and now goes for a Synchro Summon. And at this point, it's funny, you cannot see it here, but like in Master Duel, you have this auto chaining mechanism. So he's seeing like right now, because, or was it his 5th summon? I think this was his 5th summon, and he was seeing that I now can activate something, like the auto chaining, because the priority switched over to me. And of course, after 5 summons, if there wasn't anything before, it's Nibiru, and like kudos to him that he figured that out. Maybe I would have not caught up to this. So he figures Nibiru and then just ends his play after his next birds. Or I think it was at this point that I was able to summon Nibiru. Because the moment he realized this, I think he stopped. Exactly, this is the moment where he stopped committing more to the board. And he has a dimensional barrier, which is pretty bad against us, locking us out of our XYZ Prime Mathmech Alembertion. So let's see what we can do here. We are drawing, and as I already said, I am going for directly into battle phase, end of battle phase, to play evenly matched. Of course, this resolves, but he chains the dimensional barrier, calling XYZ, locking me out of my XYZ place. So then I go for the small world bridge, pitch the Nibiru, which I don't need anymore, over Effect Veiler to my Mathmech Circular, which then I activate to, of course, pitch my Sigma. Then I realize, okay, XYZ is not possible. I draw my Super Factorial, and my plan now is to just get the addition on board, then link these 3 away so I have them engraved so I can Super Factorial next turn. Problem is, and I did not realize this at the moment because I'm like still learning this deck, the Sigma will get banned, so it will not be engraved, hence there will be only 2 Mathmechs engraved, and this does not allow me to go for the Liplation. Okay, so I go for this because, yeah, mistake of mine, and then I like notice my mistake. I go into the Transcode Talker to get these into grave, but then I'm like, oh shit, okay, that doesn't even work. So I pass back over to him, like not a good turn from us, especially because he locked us out of our XYZ summons. So then we go for a Mathmech Super Factorial, because I figure, okay, I can at least set up my next turn by using Alembertion and going for the Search, which I will do now. I'm not quite sure what I'm going for here. I think Diameter, but yeah. He then activates an effect that negates my Alembertion, so I don't get to search anything. And then he can also take my Alembertion to his side. Shuffling and putting another Synchro monster on the board, and right now the situation is looking pretty grim. Third Synchro monster, which can dump a card, and he goes into another monster over to me, and I'm thinking, okay, best line of play I have here is use my Evenly Matched to like clear the board. I then like misplay because I'm thinking, I can use my Swallowbell Bridge to go into Circular with Parallel Exceed, which I can't. So I use this, I figure, oh, I can't, and end up with Parallel Exceed again. And at this moment, I think, yeah, I surrender the game. So we are basically going to the third game, which I have to search for. Give me a second. This should be it, right? Yes, so we are now in the third game, and once again I lost, so I can decide whether I go first or second. I go first, and I have some basic lines here. I can go for the Silent Minding, drop the Sigma because this needs to be in the grave, and go for my Circular, which I think I do, and that's what I'm doing. Then I use my Circular and pitch the other Sigma because this is the best card to pitch, and you can, like, if the one card gets banished, you can use the next one. So go for Circular, bring back the Sigma, this is pretty standard. I search my Super Factorial, go into Alembertion, and as you can see in his hand, he cannot really respond to this. So we go for Diameter, then summon the Diameter to get back Circular. You do not want to get back Sigma because this will get banished. Then I go for Link Disciple, Devotee, then tribute this with this, which is important because then you get a monster back. We get our 2 tokens, and now I'm going for Cyber's Wicked into Lingo Rebo, search for Diameter with the Wicked, and then end on the Masquerina board. Super Factorial, and I drop these. Because this is pretty good, like this is mainly for the Kashtira matchup, but in this situation I can just use this on like one monster and can flip it down, and the good thing is because I have link monsters only, they cannot be flipped down, so this is not a disadvantage for me. He draws, goes for this drawing card again, and I decide, okay, let's start with the Super Factorial to get rid of this card and one hand card and have a negate on board. So that's what we are doing here. Basic line, go for the Laplacian and pop his back row as well as a hand card. Let's do this. Yeah, we hit a bird, and he then goes for more bird lines, which then he just scoops, like figuring that he cannot play through this negate. We also had the book, and we also had crossout, and we also of course had the Appaloosa, which we can go for with the IP Masquerena. So this is it for this best of 3. Like, my main purpose was to show you Dueling Nexus and to show you how the replays look here. Obviously this is more of a simulator, so you don't have animations like you have in Master Duel, but I really like this. One thing I also like is how fast it plays here, because if you ever want to try it out, you will play very fast here, where Master Duel always need time for the chains and the animations. I mean, if you like that, then that's cool, but I would really recommend a Dueling Nexus for trying out decks and also testing out what is happening in the TCG. If you want to play the best of 3 format, there's also a ranked ladder here. You can see I also am in the rankings here, and there are also leagues. Diamond, I once was master and close to the top 100, but really dropped down because I was playing very unconcentrated. So yeah, that's it for now. I really like to do videos about on this platform. If you like this as well, let me know in the comments, because I also want to make content from the TCG and I want to mainly use this. Let me know if you like it or if you prefer the Master Duel content. I'm happy that you are here, and we are seeing each other in the next one.